Greetings and welcome back to Switched to Linux. We are all frogs in boiling water. Ew. Anyone like your Kermit on a Kermit dipped in butter? Tasty. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today, and we're going to go ahead and just see who's on or not on, I guess, in some cases. STS Tech, well, shoot a biscuit. Oh, don't shoot a biscuit, eat the biscuit. Biscuits are tasty. I'm going to miss this one. All right. Just about had me giving in and going back to Steam. I felt there was no avoiding it. Then I reminded myself I have to stand on principle. Yep. That's the thing, we all need to stand on a principle. We all, are you willing to be inconvenienced in some things to stand on principle? And that's an important thing to think about. Strive to use more open source software and own as much of the resources I can need for a living. I will not rent, I will own as much as possible. There you go. Loopy will be late. Greetings. Chad says, rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Can I do a frog? I don't know. Depends on what type of frog you're thinking. Mitchell Morrison, greetings from Phoenix. How's it going there? Pizza, pizza. How's it going there? Pizza, pizza. What's this cryptic title mean? Well, we'll actually figure it out, won't we? Pizza, pizza. Oh, Loopy is here, apparently. Greetings. Hello, Jeff Hope. Did the Mafia get to you? You retracted your message. By the way, guys, I know that my cats for a long time have been plotting the end and the destruction of the universe. And I have determined that today the cats have executed their plan to place me as a target for the kitty mafia. That is a severed bird head sitting on my back deck. So the kitty mafia is out for me. I am going to be snuffed. I know it. It's an interesting thing. So, Chad V, truly sad statement that most are frogs in boiling water, though. Yes. Thomas Holt, greetings. CJ just took off. Quint Berkeley, hello. Greetings, sir. Caesar, hello to you. All hail Caesar. Greetings. Some things you have to rent. There's times. Hello from North Dallas. Greetings, Jeff Hope. How's it going there? Good to know the Mafia let you out. UK Beast, how's it going there? What's green and slimy all over but smells like bacon? Kermit the Frog's fingers. The original message said intro. Then I realized it is in the title and not an intro. What? I don't know. Greetings, Toss. Toss is on. Yes. Did somebody say Mafia? Yes. Are my cats going to have a kitty-sized Cadillac coming after me? Going to be watching that trunk? I'm telling you, though, when you find severed animal heads, you got some problems, Getting a tad warm in here. Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. That's right. All right, so what are we talking about? We're going to go ahead and start record, and we will jump on over. Welcome back to Switched to Linux. So today we want to talk a little bit about being frogs in a boiling pot of water. So the old saying, the old adage, if you take a frog and put it in hot water, he'll jump right out. But if you take a frog and put him in cold water and slowly turn up the heat, he will stay in there and boil himself to death. And this is an interesting perspective as we are moving more and more into this crazy data collection world. So it occurred to me how far this slip has gone because if you didn't catch the video from yesterday, I did a Nextcloud and how to sync your Nextcloud contacts and calendars with an Android phone. So I just went out and bought a cheap $30 Android phone to do with that video, and just simply so that it was stock. So in theory, that set of instructions would work with any device that you could get. And of course, slightly modifying it based upon, do you use Lineage or are you on Google Stock, all the different things. And so a friend of mine, though, he's like, there's this project he's working on and these people are like wanting to use Snapchat and he could not get them off of Snapchat. So rather than link that crap up to a his regular phone. He's like, I'm just going to pick up a phone just to throw Snapchat on just so I can, communicate with these guys every day or so. And I was like, well, I still have this crappy little Android phone, so why don't I just go ahead and get that video out, and then I'll set the phone up for Snapchat for you. And so I did that. So I did the video, and then as the video was processing, I factory reset the phone and then created a Google account and all this. One of the funny things about Snapchat is it absolutely requires the full-on, full-fledged Google tracking analytics, everything about it. It will not run if you do not have the Play Store on your phone. In fact, it will not even run if you do not have the absolute latest version of the Play Store on your phone, which is very frightening, very scary thing. But as I'm setting this thing up, I reset the phone, and then I went through and I set it up, and I wanted to make it as privacy-centric. Like, realize those $30 phones from Walmart, they have 3 separate Facebook applications installed? I had to go and disable 3 separate Facebook applications. You had all sorts of other stuff that is all related to forms of data collection, and there's some things that some people have been talking about. You'll find some documentaries about this where some people are talking about, they're talking about how privacy is going to become a luxury of the wealthy. And so you can buy your way into privacy. So like I bought my Nexus 5X and I wiped the phone and I installed Lineage on it. So there's no Google connections or services that are proprietary and things like that. And so the phone does a lot better job of preventing a lot of various data collection. But if you don't have the ability to get a phone that you can unlock the bootloader, or as is currently going on in our world, the inability to unlock a bootloader on these devices, you are completely locked into whatever they want to do on that device. And that is truly what we are seeing in that right now, where we're in this world that if you do not pay extra, if you do not do extra effort, if you do not do extra things, your data is simply getting collected. And as I'm setting this phone up, of course, it has, just like Windows 10, when you set up Windows 10, there's the huge get started. And this is the one everybody sees. But if you look, it's in very, very small font, almost matching the color of the background, just visible enough to be quasi-legal, is the ability to click the customize in Windows 10 and disable things before it even gets turned on. Well, the phone did the same thing. Very quickly, let's get started, but there is the customize button. So I click the customize button, and it's just like pages of, yep, turn this off, turn this off, turn this off, turn this off. All of these things Google wanted to collect to even use the phone. Now, one of the things, of course, if you follow Louis Rossmann, a couple weeks ago, he found out that Google was literally recording everything. I actually found it interesting that setting was disabled by default. Definitely interesting. So something happened between then and now that setting is actually disabled. That basically where it would keep a log of everything you ever used on speech to text. That was actually disabled, and there was one other thing that was disabled. I forget what it was, but everything else was all enabled. And then, of course, you had to absolutely, completely, and totally agree to use data collection, or you can't use the browser. Now, I covered a ruling, or it was a new proposed law, I believe, and I can't remember if it was specific to just California, or if it was a federal proposed law. I can't remember. I was looking for the news clip again. I covered it on the news a few weeks back, and in that they were basically trying to pass more laws to hold tech companies more accountable to data, including the ability to say, no, you cannot use my data for any purpose. I mean, even now, as I was looking up articles, this one here at the bottom, you'll see that we have this cookie statement. By further navigating the website, you agree to accept all of this. Now, this type of thing may be made illegal if this law were to pass. Now, what is this article about? This is a fascinating article because it turned out that Facebook, they did consider selling data. Remember, this is one of the big things with the Cambridge Analytica stuff. Zuckerberg's like, we do not sell data. It's true. They don't sell data. They license data. And that is infinitely more profitable for them. It's why when you go into a car dealership, they would love to get you on a lease, because a lease is the most profitable way for them to operate a car. You pay them pretty much the value of the car, and then they get the car back at the end of the lease, and you got nothing. Tell me what world this is good? Well, Facebook did the same analysis. They actually looked at the possibility of selling data and determined it was more profitable for them to not sell data just so that they could lease the data instead. And that's what they do. That's their entire method and their methodology. And so we have gotten into this world right now where we are so used to all of these services. We are so used to all of these connections that we will just accept because, ooh, we got to use Snapchat. Ooh, we got to use Facebook. Ooh, we got to use, you name it thing. And you inherently have to agree to use the services. Now, the bigger kicker that I find is when you have a student in a school system and they don't want to agree to these services, but you have to use the service to get your work done. That's really bad. We've talked about that in other places. Let me consult my notes here. I think I'm missing something. So, of course, we talked about when you get these new devices, whether it's a Windows 10 system or whether it's an Android device, the vast get started now so I can get into the phone. That will just enable every bit of data collection possible. And I gotta say, when my original Nexus 5X phone battery blew up and I was debating, do I want to get another one of those or just pick up another phone from this local store? I actually went down to the Verizon store and picked up just a new Samsung phone. Just like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to see if this works for me. Oh, Lord. I am so spoiled on this Lineage phone that doesn't do pop-ups and all sorts of background stuff and constant notifications, and every single time, literally it's like for the first day, every other hour, something's one about, ooh, we need to collect data. Ooh, it's like, I wanted to throw the thing against the wall. It's like, wow. And I ended up wiping the thing and taking it back to them. I was like, we ain't using this. I can't use this at all. And that's the world we're going to, that all of these devices, and I set that one up without a lot of that stuff, and it still was able to get in there and grab all these things. But this is why our society is getting this way. I was so frustrated just setting up that little phone for somebody. I wanted to go out and start like doing mean things. And it makes me like, so maybe this is why we're having so many of these bad events coming up lately. Applications we want to use or get force us to accept their permissions. There were some situations in one of the gaming companies recently where, the default is they opted to get rid of your usernames and share your real name with random people on the internet that you're playing a game with. That's insane. But you agreed to it because it was all buried inside of the terms and conditions that you didn't even look at. And very few of us spend time looking at those things. It's crazy to look at how much is out there. Anytime you get the updates, this is one of the things I talk about a lot, where I don't always like the concept of always just pushing the updates as soon as they're available, because I want security updates. I don't want feature updates. But they're pushing out new feature updates wrapped up with the security updates. So if you don't want your system to get hacked, you got to accept the new features as well. And they add all these new data collection things and turn them on default. And you don't even know about it because you didn't read the terms and conditions. We already talked about cookies collecting data. At least with that, I can clear the cookies out at the end of the session. But, we can do that. So basically you get into this and there's dizzy amounts of options. It takes a good hour or so to go through all the settings in Windows 10 and turn all that stuff off. Android's much the same. At least Windows 10 is somewhat organized. Android settings have always been a mess, and they still are to this day a mess. Apple's definitely quite a bit better in that respect. It all boils down to we lack control, but our ultimate problem is that we have become addicted to what we're using. We have become addicted to the applications and the tools. It has become so easy, so convenient. We don't want to leave we don't want to write shopping lists anymore. We don't want to remember our music anymore. We don't want to buy our CDs anymore. We can't go over to the CD player and pick up a CD and put it in. Oh, I got to stream it all. And I get it. There's definitely things that we want to accept some of the modern conveniences. But what they've done is they've gotten us so addicted to these things that we simply acquiesce in the name of our addiction in order to pass along all of the data, all of these options, all of these notifications, all of these things, and it drives us insane. But we've become so accustomed to it because we're not looking back. And I remember when I went from this Nexus to try that Samsung for a day, and I got another taste of that going from my Nexus to that Alcatel phone yesterday. It's like, this is insane. And this is an insane amount of crazy. We have boiled ourselves. We have completely acquiesced to these other companies. And I want you to have a take-home message today. Stop, turn off the tech, evaluate what you're giving them, think about these things clearly, and develop a strategy to get a lot of these types of things out of your life. I'm moving along on these Nextcloud tutorials, just trying to teach you how to build a Nextcloud and get Google out of your life. Nextcloud can replace Google, Dropbox, I mean, you name it. It can replace all that kind of stuff. These are important questions, important things to think about. Stop being a frog in the water. Jump out of that pot and take back some control from these companies. Do inconvenient things and say, I'm sorry, I'm just not using that company's data because I don't trust what the company's doing. Make these actual steps, make these actual plans. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. You can help support this channel by having a look at the links above or in the description down below. All right. I might interview an MS employee this week. What should the topic be? Oh, I don't know. Cat alack. Ooh, ouch. He's hot. Toss is hot. Just set up my Raspberry Pi B3B Plus with Ubuntu Mate. Cool. Do you have a touchscreen? Does the touchscreen work? I want to try that. Watching a stream at 144p on the walk home. All right. Very cool, pizza. Goes to show that replies have no real feeling. Oh, reptiles have no real. I'm like, replies? What? Reptiles have no real feelings. That's right. Testing Ubuntu. It's spinny. I just as much as I do like some elements of old design, Ubuntu just still looks way too old for me. I don't know. If Google started a service where you paid $15 a month and it would not do any data collection, would you do it? No, because I don't use Google for anything other than this business. And it's isolated on certain computers. So, no, I wouldn't. If I needed to use Google or wanted to use Google, sure. Maybe. I don't know. I have a thing about subscription services, but I don't know. Disable data collection on Windows 10 with shut up 10. Actually, you can't, because one of the things that does is that tries to override the host file, and the Windows 10 does not respect its host file when it comes to its own services. There's no reliable way I know of to prevent Windows 10 from checking home. Okay. Windows hiding their privacy settings in a registry. Imagine my shock. Yep. Well, they hide their settings all sorts of places. Registry is one place where you find some privacy settings. There's some in group policy. There's some in, I forget some of the other places. There's stuff all over the place. There's a topic for you, Pizza. Ask the Microsoft employees, how do you get Windows 10 to stop collecting any data? Any and all data. There's a good question for you. Greetings, Benjamin. How's it going there? Hello, Marcel. Didn't agree to have a school Google account. But did the kitty agree? Did you agree to have a school Google account? Did you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think? You want a Google account? Kitty's like, dude, no, I don't want a Google account. That's insanity. Forced to use MS Office for school. They also record everything you do on school computers. They wanted to opt out both this semester and last, but I had a computer tech class. Wow. Have to use Office too, but I bought my own computer. Yeah. Pay attention, people. If one really does the research, a birth certificate is nothing more than a lease on your own life. Yep. The April security update fixed all the bugs in my Nokia. Thanks to Kubuntu and Pop! OS getting better with NVIDIA Optimus, making games playable. Finally deleted Windows 10. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Very cool indeed. Stop using Google Play. Argentina, how's it going there? Greetings. Is Kali Linux a good distro? Kali Linux is for pen testing. If you're looking for a pen testing distro, yes, use Kali. If you're looking for a basic distro, no, don't use Kali. It's not what it's designed for. Summer camp living dorms. Always use my netbook instead of their crappy machines. Yep. Google settings are a mess, yeah. Doesn't have any ROMs, and I need apps, the Play Store, that aren't on F-Droid. Google just needs Clippy to help find a setting. There you go. Yet you want us to sub and hit the bell. Actually, I have never told anybody to sub and hit the bell. In fact, I tell people don't do it. That's why I have a very rigid schedule on this channel. And if you want to follow along on social media, you can get the updates as to when I'm going live and when videos are posted. But I've actually never told anybody on my channel to sub and hit the bell. All right. Make MySpace great again. Oh boy. IRC starts to be nicer as of late, but it's enjoy it quite much. Apple Music, Steam, Blue Mail, and Simple Note. And a bunch of emulators. All right. Touchscreen, I don't think it works with Ubuntu Mate. That was one of the things that they were saying in the release notes, is that the new kernel should work with a lot more touchscreens. Hmm. 10 doesn't edit host file. It prevents from sending some data in the first place by modifying the registry. Okay, well, I'll have to look into it again. Windows 10 seems to have AI built into it to subvert anything you do not change. I think with the Spybot one, I think edited the host file. That one was completely ineffective. I'll have to look at the Shut Up 10, see what that one does. Yeah, but group policy does not exist on Windows 10 Home. All of the registry settings I knew of were related to group policy. So, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Disconnect internet. Yep. There you go. There's a God mode option shortcut for all the settings in one place. Doesn't Microsoft collect data no matter what as long as you are connected to the internet? Pretty much. I have not looked at the new Pop! OS. Microsoft collects data even if you aren't connected to the internet. They backdoor Wi-Fi's within range, just like cell phones do on data usage. Touchscreen works on Manjaro Linux. Yeah, like touchscreens are generally not a problem for most Linux. It's the Raspberry Pis. You usually had to get special drivers for them to work and things. Standings is because there's no mining constantly. Lineage, pures, and batteries will last a lot longer. Yeah, that's actually what I think. Hostman does not work with Windows 10. Actually make it not go online. You think, Kitty? What do you think, huh? All right. Well, that's 25 minutes in. Yeah, Canine Mail's the best Android mail client as far as I know. All right. Well, I think part 2 of today, I think one of the things I wanted to do is talk a little bit about Kdenlive. I've had a lot more people asking about what I use for editing videos, and so I wanted to go ahead and do a video about that. So let's go ahead and do some Kdenlive tips, shall we? All right. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Today we want to do a little bit of Kdenlive tips. I've had a lot of people ask me what I use to edit videos on Linux on my different channels, and I use Kdenlive. There's a lot of different options out there to use on Linux. There's actually several. I've used OpenShot in the past. However, I've taken that off. Their last update didn't really add anything, made it more difficult to use. And I think they are requiring a scary EULA now, if I remember correctly. So OpenShot for me is kind of out. So I actually use Kdenlive. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the desktop and just kind of walk you through some basic stuff. Now, the first thing that I do is I have a variety of different types of videos I might do. And so what I've done is I've actually created template files. So Linux, the right click and create a new document works by looking at the template directory. So I actually have 3 different template files here. And these are when I'm creating a new video. If I'm doing a top 10, I create a top 5 video. If I'm doing a news clip, I do, which is mostly the default. Basic video doesn't really get used much anymore. News clip has all of the new features that I need for the new end screens and the social callouts and things like that. And so what we're going to do here is if you just boot up Kdenlive, you are left with a blank template here. And the first thing you really want to do is under your new options, you want to decide what type of file you want to go with. So you can actually do, and Linux can do 4K. It's, and it works just fine. I just stick with 1080p right now. So I just go 1080p, 29.97 frames per second. And I just set the video tracks 3, audio tracks 2. And I pretty much don't go into here anymore because my basic default setups are exactly what I generally use. But rather than actually booting up Kdenlive like that, like I said, I just right click and start with whatever one I'm doing. So if I wanted to do, for example, a top 5 video, I just go in here, name my file, and then open it up like this. Now, what these have different in them is that my top 5 will actually have my top 5 animations. So you are used to seeing those if you watch this. Now, of course, these are actually on here with a blue screen. That's something that you don't see because all of these guys actually have a chroma key already set. Okay, and that's actually this top 5 chroma that you see over here. So basically what that means is when I drop it onto here, it actually is going to bleed down into the background rather than that. So if I were to drop something else down here again, you'll see that this is actually how that top 5 works. It uses a chroma so that the background is all done in the blue, and then when it opens up, you'll see where it goes from there. Now the animation screens were actually done in Blender, which we're not going to be looking at here. But we also have the titles, which simply calls the latest title that we have in the system. I have a support, which I generally don't use that one anymore. I have my intro, which is already on the timeline. And then in the case that every now and again I might use a just simple screen recorder to record my screen. In those cases, I might need to drop the titles back over here. That's why these are here inside of a folder, but I generally don't do that because I usually use a scene collection on OBS to record my videos with the titles already in the system. In general, if you can decrease your post-production, it increases. If you can decrease your what's the way I'm saying it? I'm trying to say if you add as much of the elements that you're going to need, it will make editing those elements harder in post-production, but makes your post-production go a lot faster. So that's kind of what I would generally do. And I'm not sure if I still have any of these on here. Okay, so actually I still, no, I don't. That's actually the latest video I just recorded. So that's kind of what this one looks like. We're not going to save any changes. Of course, the next one I use is the news clip. Is my most popular one now. So here, what we have different in here is we still have our intro. I actually already have my transition already put here as well. So when I add the new video, I just line it up with this and it automatically fades into the system. We still have, here's the social video, which is done in the chroma background as well. Now that actually has its own chroma. I think they're actually the same codes, but just in case, I went ahead and created a special one for each one of these transitions. Here, of course, is the end screen, which is just a picture, but I actually have another transition. So let's go ahead and just drop a video onto the system right now. Let me grab the cat first. He's making some noise and wants to go. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and drop this guy right on the right on the timeline. And then what we're going to do is just drop this guy where I need it to be. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to find the spot where I want to start. Welcome back. Okay, so it's kind of right before that welcome back. So I want to leave just a couple trailing seconds. And holding the Shift and R hotkeys the cut. So that's the same thing. You can grab the cut icon here and cut. I just used a shortcut. So delete the first part I don't need, and now that's lined up perfectly. Welcome back. So that's how that starts. Now, if I just want to, wherever I want to drop the social media, I already have the chroma on the social media. We'll show you how to do that in a second. So now what that does, instructions would work with any device that up where it goes. So that way I already have these elements pre-built, and now I just drop them right on in post-production. Now, how do you make this work? So these are done with, there's a couple transitions here. The social chroma, this is what gets rid of the blue on the background. So if I were to go in here and do, maybe I want to do a chroma on this for some reason, right clicking gives us transitions. So transitions are what allows us to dissolve. That's these little guys over here that I just highlighted. But the other thing you have is effects. You have a variety of effects, alpha manipulations. This is kind of what I'm using. Rotoscoping is what you can use to cause a bullet list to show up. We have data, we have audio channels, we have blur and hide if you want to blur something out. We have color corrections, crop and transforms. Now, when I create one of these effects, all right, so if I want to add, for example, maybe a crop and transform. So we're going to add it to this individual clip, and then what I can do is kind of specify. Now I can grab it and drag it like this. So I can go ahead and grab and drag this guy where I might want it to be, and that transform kind of stays right where it is. Now we can do, we can do things like if you want to slide it up or slide it onto the screen. So let's go ahead and slide it up. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and put it back to the bottom. So this has what you have keyframes. And so with the transform, you can create your keyframe. So I'll go ahead and at the very first one creates an automatic keyframe. And then I've let it play ahead. And then we have a second keyframe. And then maybe we're going to go just a little bit back, add another keyframe, and then one at the final end. So now what we're going to do is our first keyframe, we're actually going to slide this off the screen. I'm just going to realign the X to be 0. And now our second keyframe tells us where our final position is. Our third keyframe is again our final. And then our fourth, we want this back off again. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. So now when we play our video, this is going to slide up his regular phone. So he's like, I'm just going to pick up a phone just to throw Snapchat. Mute the desktop audio for a second. So now it's going to slide off once we go ahead and get to the bottom of that. So you'll watch that slide down. There phone up for Snapchat for full. All right. So now that's how we kind of do a slide. Now, if I want to keep this transition, then what I can do is I can actually save it. So left clicking up here, there's the icon which just shows it or hides it. The next one, which is a little hamburger menu, we can reset the effect, we can save it, or we can create a group or a region. So if I save the effect, I can go ahead and give it a name, and then this is going to show up in my custom effects. I'm not going to save it because I don't want it to show up. So your custom effects are up here. So this is all of the different effects that we have. These are, let's see which one. Video effects. This is all effects. This is just the effects that deal with video. This is just the effects that deal with audio. And then we actually have our custom effects, and we have our fade to black. Or fade to black is a favorite. My apologies. That's a favorite one. I actually put the fade to black. It gets used on most of my videos. So I went ahead and favorite that. So you can go into any one of these transitions that you have, right click it and add effect to favorites. And that will make it show up over here. So all of the ones that I regularly use, instead of going in here, right clicking, digging through the menus, I can just select and toggle between my favorites and my custom effects. So my custom effects, one of the things is your end transition screen may not work quite right. And so I actually have two of them. They're the same one, but this actually has all of the values that I want. So literally what I do to get the end screen working is drag this guy over, and then I'm going to, holding control and rolling the mouse wheel, I can scrub this up, grab the top clip and cut it. Now your transition effects go from clip to clip. So now that I have that guy cut, I usually play it out just a second and then drag this guy, click it right down here, and then add the keyframe right where I'm at. Now, this will kind of, I find it gives me kind of random numbers here. Sometimes it's the full regular, sometimes it gives me 1% size at 0 opacity. I have no idea why it does that. But my first one, we're just going to go ahead and change these numbers back to 100, 100. And then on my keyframe, I actually just built my end screen with my names over here to tell me where everything is. So 582, and then we're going to go with 45.56, and we're going to go with 100. So now what this does is this causes my end screen. That's what the company's doing. So that's what causes my transition like that. So that way I've streamlined my methods for doing custom effects. Now, what we did here is we added this custom effect just by dragging it down to this clip. The other thing that you can do is you can grab a custom effect and you can actually put it directly on. That's what you can see over here. You can barely see it, but there's a little star right on this guy. I'll go ahead and zoom in on that a little bit so you can see it in the processing. But there's a little star there. That means that there already is an effect on it. So if I wanted to add an effect to this one here, I just grab it and drag it onto the timeline. Now that it has that little star, every single time I add this, it actually automatically adds that transition to it. Okay, which I can't show you because that one is a chroma and you can't actually see what the chroma does. But this means that every time I grab one of these instances and drag it on here, it works wonderfully. Now, I use this extensively on my other channel where I have a lot of fade transitions. So I literally just grab these guys and just drop them on all over everything so my transitions are already set. So that's just a little bit about what you can do with special effects and chromas. The one other thing that I see a lot of people wanting to know about is audio alignment. If you need to make an adjustment to your audio, I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete everything off of the timeline. And we're going to go ahead and drop this guy over here. And what we're going to do, record, and we will jump on over. You can hear it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add a lot of bass to this audio clip. So to do this, we need Audacity. So I'm going to go in and boot up Audacity. And then once I have Audacity booted, I'm just going to go ahead and drop the clip onto Audacity. This is going to import. So if you watch my outdoor philosophy where sometimes I'm recording on a stream next to a stream, I use this to use noise reduction to basically cancel the stream out. Record, and we will jump on over. Here's my audio. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of it, just Control A to grab all of it. And then we're going to go down and we want to do a bass boost on it. So let's just go ahead and do a bass boost. We'll do a preview, record, and we will jump on over. That's not enough bass boost. Let's go ahead and boost it up some more. Record, and we will jump on over. Kind of hear I mean, we'll make it sound kind of bad. Record, and we will jump on over. So that kind of sounds a little bad, but that's exactly kind of what I want to duplicate for doing this. So now, record, and we're going to export the project as an MP3. I'll just go ahead and throw it on the desktop as fix audio. And we'll let this export. And then when this is done exporting, then what we're going to do is go back into Kdenlive and boot this up. And then we're going to do an audio alignment. So it's going to basically analyze the waveform and align our audio. So this is good if you're recording with a different mic setup or whatever else. So I don't need that anymore. So now let's just go ahead and add our clip. Let's go back to our desktop and fix audio. Now, of course, since this guy here is exactly going to be the same size, we could actually just kind of drop that. That should actually be on an audio, not a video. And that would be perfectly aligned, okay? But suppose you did something like you clipped this off a little bit. So we'll go ahead and just clip this just a bit. So now what happens if you want to get this aligned? We want to come on down here, and you can try and eyeball it.
Pot of water. So you know the old saying, the old
that ain't
adage.
working. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click, and we want to set audio reference. Actually, yeah, let's do that. We're going to set audio reference. Okay. So you'll see it says processing audio down in the corner. We're going to let that process its audio for a second. And we have to wait until that is done. I do wish that it gave us something more and bigger so you kind of knew what was going on. It says audio analysis finished. Now we're going to right click the bottom one, align to audio reference. Again, we see our processing, and then what it's going to do is it's going to align us
in a boiling pot of water.
You know the old saying. So it sounds a little off, but it actually is not. It's just that there's two of them. So now these are an audio reference. And what we're going to do is let's just go ahead and group these guys. So we're going to group this one to this one. So we're going to grab these guys. We're going to group the clips. So that way, if I slide one clip, it automatically goes to the other. So let's just go ahead and get rid of this part. I don't think I can because they're grouped. Oh, yep, I can. All right. So now we can get this guy aligned right where I need it. I might need to move that transition. Okay, so you notice that transition didn't work? That's because this is transitioning to the wrong place. Now, my theming, I like my theming. You can actually set this so it'll work. If I clip that back to... I got to see which one I need to do. I think I need to do this. Okay, and set this to video clip 1. Now we have our transition back. All right, now we're going to right click over here, and we're going to add an effect. Audio, I think it's audio correction and mute.
In a boiling pot of water.
So now we have our
audio. You know the old saying, aligned. The old adage.
Everything is set
up,
up,
frog and put it in hot
our
water.
new audio is overriding our old audio. So that's how you can align your audio sets. So if you need to post-process your audio, fix something in something, just use Audacity, get your audio fixed up. That could be maybe you're boosting it, maybe you're repairing it. In this case, I disrepaired it, but that's okay. So that is, those are just kind of some tips. I think we're going to go ahead and stop there. That's probably a lot. And let me know the other types of Audacity, or not Audacity, well, maybe Audacity. Sure, I'll do Audacity stuff too. I know how to use that. Let me know other Caden Live tips that you'd like to see in the future. And maybe I'll do some more videos looking at some specific things, maybe detailed on rotoscoping, things like that. Let me know what you guys think. And once again, you can help support the channel by having a look at the links up above me or in the description down below. And follow along on the social media if you want regular channel updates. All right, let me close that. Close that. And go on back to my comments. There we go. All right. Nice to collect data. Apple Music can be downloaded on APK off their website. Use K9 Mail. Yep. What video should I make at a Linux Fest? Don't know. 3D artist would love to switch to Linux, but my 3D app ZBrush is not on Linux. Is there a way to install it on Linux? I don't know. You'd have to. The only way, if there's not a native Linux one, the only way is through Wine, and you'd have to check the Wine HQ database to see if it's in there. Now, do you have to use that application, or is it just one that you preferred to use? There's a fun question for you, because if it's 3D artist, Blender, that works. But you might have very specific requirements for needing that particular one. So let's just go ahead and have a look at, whoa. Let me, 1 second. Boot that up. We're going to go ahead and look at Wine HQ. All right, so if you head on over here to Wine HQ, you can do a search for the application, and let's see what it says. So according to this, depending on which version you have, and I don't know which is new and which is old, 2008, 4R, I don't know. So my guess is, let's see, 4R8 runs, silver means it runs fairly well. 2018 version seems to run fairly well. Version 3 seems to run very well. Here's version 4. Runs platinum. Platinum is, I think, the highest setting, meaning that, yes, it will run perfectly. Let's go ahead and just have a look at one of these. Now, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the program, so I don't know if this is a new one, if this is an old one, if you know what it is. So basic sculpting and modeling. What does not? Little long startup time, so basically longer startup time. And then the operating systems it was tested on. Now this is a long time ago, so I don't know if these are useful information or not. This is an Ubuntu, CentOS. So I'm unfamiliar with the application. Like I said, if this is something that you have to use because of sorry, you guys weren't seeing that. If this is something that you have to use because of a specific requirement from work, you'd want to look for it in this. But if it's just that you need to create 3D art, consider Blender. It is a complete native system, and it will allow you to do. I mean, it holds its hand next to 3ds Max and things like that. So definitely look at Blender instead, depending on what your thing is. Caden Live 1904, the new one. Complete overhaul. Oh, lordy. Never used desktop icons. I have plenty of desktop pictures for a reason. Yeah. Don't understand the title of this stream. On Wednesdays, 6-6 Syndicate, on Wednesdays I usually do 2 topics. I announce one of them, the second one's a surprise. Same with you, Start the Rebellion. Can I do a Blender tutorial? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think about Gopher. They dig up my garden. I don't know much about Gopher. I've heard of it. That's about as far as I get. I think you need ZBrush on Linux. But you can use it with Wine and play on Linux. Okay, let's see. Okay, with Wine or play on Linux. Well, with play on Linux, if there's a play on Linux build, that's the preferred because it will grab the best version of Wine to run the application. It basically produces its own little environment. That's the best way to do it. Yes, you need the exe file and call up the application. That version of Kdenlive is... Uh, 1704. Later, y'all. All right. Okay. Just finished eating dinner, cleaning dishes. Now it's time to relax with a martini. All right. Woohoo! Pizza's on the PC now. PC. Somehow turned into a tutorial. All right. Okay, by far best editor. It sucks on Windows. Prefer editing on Linux than Windows. Yeah. Video editing is not an easy thing to do. Yeah, thank God you don't need to use it. I don't need videos, but if I did, I'd want to record the desktop and it goes with mistakes and all. There you go. Kdenlive support H.256. I think it does. Yes, I'm pretty sure. The dark theme better. Light theme hurts my eyes. Yep. Yes, I'm using Linux Mint. The question is to me, then the answer is yes, I use Linux Mint. Yes, Anna Rita uses Linux Mint. You should check out Kdenlive 1904 as a flat pack. The Arch build is broken. Well, that's the only device I have where I would have a flat pack. Well, I guess I can install it on my Arch system. Maybe I'll look at it. The kitty showed up. He's like, it must be getting close to the end of this thing, so I need to be getting my kitty treats. Look at this. He's already poking around on his kitty treats. You want some kitty treats, kitty? Do you want some kitty treats? Do you? You want some kitty treats? Want some kitty treats? Time for your kitty treats. Time for your kitty treats. Oh boy, kitty. Time for your kitty treats. Go on, stick something in there. Stick your paw in there. Or your face. Stick your paw in there. Go for the paw, kitty. Go for the paw. Go for the paw. Yeah, get the paw going. Oh boy, it's close. You get it? I can't tell if you got it or not. We'll give you two. There you go. We'll give him one more. We'll give him his third. There you go. Oh, those finger licking good. Yeah, they finger licking good. What's the difference using a flat pack compared to the built-in repository? I've never gotten the flat pack for Kdenlive to work right. I'll try it on the Arch system because it's an experimental build for me, so I'll give it a try. But I don't like flat packs. I've never had them work well either. It's kind of me. Better be cute, otherwise no paycheck. That's right. You gotta be cute. You gotta be cute. Yes, you do. He gets paid in kitty treats. Yep. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, guys. So thanks for coming along. And I will have the edited version of the frog in the pot up here probably within the next hour or so. For you guys that came on wanting to see that, I will definitely get that up for you. Let's see. Thank you for your work. Hey, no problem, Evil 6. Just installed Pop! OS and did a backup. I think, well, let's see how it goes. New to Linux. Well, good luck to you, sir or ma'am. For me, it always works. Maybe it's just your system. Snap for Kden Live doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. We will catch you guys later. Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow's Thursday, isn't it? Yes. So I will do a supporter stream tomorrow. If you are a financial supporter, you will find the links on Think Life Media and Patreon. I'll have the links up for that. And I'm not sure what topic we're going to cover yet, but I'll figure it out tonight. Have yourselves a good afternoon, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. All right, I have this question one more time. Why not VMware? It's called licensing. Have a read through your licensing. That's why I don't use VMware.